All right, viewers, let's begin with the latest political development, and that surrounds a visitor to the national capital, which is highly political, the visit. And that is Mamata Banerjee, who's been in Delhi for the last 5 days. She met Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi. After Sonia and Rahul, Mamata now meets Arvind Kejriwal. It was about a 30-minute meeting. Prashant Kishore, Raghav Chadda flanked the Mamata Kejriwal meet. It was interesting because even Abhishek Banerjee was also in the meet. This picture that you see on your television screen, actually there's no Prashant Kishore in that picture. That picture has Abhishek Banerjee, Mamata Banerjee's nephew, Arvind Kejriwal and Raghav Chadda. We'll play out that exclusive picture for our viewers in a short while from now. But that is Mamata Banerjee meeting Arvind Kejriwal after her meet with Sonia Gandhi. All right, viewers, there's more news break coming in, and this one surrounds again. It's a leader from the TMC, fiery Mahua Moitra, now finds herself in another spot of bother this time around. The latest coming in is that BJP MP Nishikant Dubey has accused the Trinamool MP of insulting all Hindi-speaking people after Mahua allegedly called him a Bihari Gunda. That's the latest that is coming in. Mahua Moitra seemingly has shot off her mouth and found herself in a spot of bother where she has allegedly, by Nishikant Dubey, called all Hindi-speaking people Bihari Gunda. Nishikant Dubey insists that Mahua Moitra insulted all Hindi-speaking people when she labels him a Bihari Gunda. All right, lots of political developments taking place in the national capital. If you have Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, then now you also have the newly minted Chief Minister of Karnataka. Just today, well, after he was anointed the Chief Minister, he's in the national capital, Mr. Bommai, to meet Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah.
Basavaraj Bommai.
Karnataka gets a new boss. Lingayat leader Basavaraj Bommai sworn in as the 23rd Chief Minister of the state amid loud cheers and symbolism. The brief oath event with just the Chief Minister being sworn in was attended by BJP stalwarts including Bommai's predecessor and mentor B.S. Yedurappa and central observers. Just before going onto the stage, Bommai touched B.S. Yedurappa's feet, seeking his blessings. The new Chief Minister is close to BSY, who is believed to have put his stamp of approval on the change of guard. His overjoyed family, which attended the oath event, had a special Kannada song to mark the occasion. The new Chief Minister is ready to hit the ground running.
Quite confident that I'll be able to do my responsibility with all efficiency.
Okay. Do you think are you planning to blessing will be cabinet and what about decisions to be done on the deputy chief ministers for the state?
Yeah, that will be all discussed with the party high command.
Okay, sir, would you think Yedurappa's blessing be a support for you?
Certainly, he has been blessing me all along, and he has blessed me yesterday also, today also. I'd been to his residence, he has blessed me. So his blessing is a great strength.
After the transition, Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the new Chief Minister and also hailed the contribution made by the former Chief Minister Yedurappa. Earlier, Bommai began his day by offering prayers at Bhagwan Sri Maruti Temple in Bengaluru. Before heading to Yedurappa's residence to meet him and Central Observer Dharmendra Pradhan. The task for the new Chief Minister is cut out, with floods and COVID being the two immediate challenges at hand.
See, one thing I'll tell you, our leader, Honorable Yediyurappa, has been involving me in all decision making as far as COVID and other pandemic is concerned. So I'm very well now well equipped, and I'll take forward all the measures they have taken.
Amid the very fast task, the new Chief Minister is undertaking a trip to Delhi to meet BJP Chief JP Nadda and other central leaders.
It was just the Chief Minister who took oath today, as the new cabinet is yet to be finalised. But we have learnt that the party is planning to change 2 of the 3 Deputy Chief Ministers in order to balance caste equations so that all the crucial caste groups get a representation in the Bommai cabinet. With video journalists Madhu, Shivmurthy and Divyan, along with Nagarjun, Nabila and Pramod, this is Nolan Pinto for India Today.
All right, viewers, let's get you now this exclusive. It's happened a day after the IMF has slashed India's growth projections that IMF's chief economist Geeta Gopinath spoke to Rajdeep Sardesai.
The IMF has slashed India's projected growth rate for 21-22 from 12.5% in April now to 9.5%. Does that in a way suggest that in extraordinary times you're just not able to predict what comes next? We had the second wave in March to May, and that seems to have sent all the numbers into a tizzy.
Hi Rajdeep, always a pleasure to talk to you. So if you recall, when I did the projections in April, I had warned that there were downside risks to our forecast because we were just seeing the start of the second wave in India. And while we had assumed that there would be localized lockdowns, the lockdowns became far more widespread. There were statewide lockdowns. And so that's the reason why we have a downgrade of 3 percentage points. And also coming out of it, the recovery is modest because, again, there are still headwinds there. I mean, there could be, the pandemic is not over, there could be another surge. So keeping all of that in mind, we have a fairly modest recovery for this year.
No, I'm sorry to sound skeptical, but does that mean that, even now, these numbers could go into a tizzy should there be, God forbid, another wave or an increase in the number of corona cases in India? So in that sense, is it becoming much more difficult to give any forecast with any kind of certainty because of the number of X factors here?
Rajiv, we're living in incredibly uncertain times, and we have a pandemic, a virus that's determining the course of economies. So there is a lot of uncertainty here. But again, it still is the case that India had a very deep recession last year, and we're seeing the kind of growth numbers that we're seeing right now. It tells you something about the gap, the distance that still needs to be traveled. So for instance, even by the end of this year, India is still around 8 to 10% below where we would have projected it would have been in the absence of this pandemic. So these numbers give you at least a ballpark estimate of the kinds of gaps that need to be closed and therefore what kinds of policy actions are needed.
All right, viewers, let's talk about the second wave and India. While cases are coming down across the country, we've seen this massive surge in cases of COVID in the state of Kerala. Many are attributing it now to possibly appeasement by the Kerala government, where for the likes of Eid, it did not stop the celebrations, especially shopping right before Eid.
Kerala's horrifying COVID spike. Over 50% of India's daily COVID cases. Over 22,000 cases in a single day. Test positivity rate over 12%. 1.5 lakh active cases. A worrying COVID spike in Kerala, breaking all records. God's own country contributing over 50% of India's daily COVID numbers. The state recorded over 22,000 fresh cases on Tuesday, and an alarming test positivity rate at 12.35%. It now has nearly 1.5 lakh active cases, out of nearly 4 lakh in India, triggering fears that the third wave may be already underway in the state.
केरल में 1.2 के आसपास चला हुआ है. Again, it shows that virus replication is going on, chains of transmission are going on.
If you want to prevent infection in Kerala, the only way out is extensive vaccination, massive vaccination, and you have to save maybe an additional 25% of people from vaccination rather than infection.
The fresh spike comes after Supreme Court didn't stop state governments' 3-day relaxations in COVID curbs during Bakri Eid, saying the horse had already bolted. The BJP blamed Vijayan government's Bakri Eid appeasement for the COVID surge and slammed past narratives maligning Kumbh and Kavar Yatra.
तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति जीती और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इस हिदायत को केरल की सरकार ने पालन नहीं किया. नतीजा 22,000 केस आज केरल के अंदर आए हैं. हाउ टू प्रिवेंट थर्ड वेव, इस पर पूरे देश में चर्चा हो रही है और यह चिंता का विषय है. ऐसे में व्हाट इज द केयरलेसनेस ऑफ द केरल गवर्नमेंट दैट वी सी सच काइंड ऑफ केस लोड राइज.
Kerala had also relaxed the number of pilgrims for Sabrimala shrine.
Yesterday, Kerala reported 22,129 fresh COVID-19 cases, taking the overall active case lot beyond 1,45,000. So that actually is a significant number. And there are a lot of questions raised against the Kerala model, which was hailed at one point of time during the COVID-19 crisis.
To make matters worse, the state is witnessing a crippling crunch of vaccines. Crowds seeking vaccines are being turned away from jab centers.
The seroprevalence study shows that the number of people infected or the number of people who has antibody in their body is 42%. It means that more than 50% of the total population is unaffected. People of Kerala, they are coming forward to get vaccinated, but the thing is that we don't have vaccine.
The opposition has accused the state government of abandoning the COVID fight.
Day before yesterday, the government distributed 4.5 lakhs after this information was released. Now government is saying that no vaccine is available from the government.
Is the so-called Kerala model of COVID fight failing miserably?
Once acclaimed for its fight against the pandemic, Kerala has now come under fire over the rise in COVID numbers. While the Congress-led opposition demands more transparency from the state government, the BJP has given a political color to this whole scenario. The state expert committee, however, believes that the situation remains under control as the proportion of people who are getting hospitalized are much less as compared to the peak of the second wave. With camera person Tinku Rajshekharan, Gopikrishnan, Thiruvananthapuram for India Today.
All right, viewers, let's get to the latest in the Raj Kundra porn scandal. Well, bail has been denied to Raj Kundra. That's the latest that is coming in. During the hearing, Mumbai police objected to the bail, stating that the investigation in the case is still on. The police argued that bail to Kundra may lead to witness tampering. Kundra, on his part, sought parity, citing bail to co-accused. Meanwhile, another FIR has been filed in the sensational Mumbai porn racket. An FIR now has been registered on the complaint of a model. 4 people have been named by this model, who alleges she was promised a role in a big budget film and instead forced to act in adult films. Nature's fury continues to reign in the mountainous regions of India, the latest coming in from Jammu and Kashmir and even all the way to Himachal Pradesh. The story of rain fury continues.
Multiple cloudbursts, incessant rain, flash floods, fearsome landslides consuming vehicles, destruction and deluge in the hills. Nature's wrath has wreaked havoc in the mountains. Cloudbursts hitting 2 villages in Kargil led to a mini hydropower project getting damaged. Many houses were also hit hard. Kishtwar in Jammu and Kashmir has also witnessed nature's fury, claiming at least 6 lives. Many are still missing and others critically injured or displaced. Rescue operations are on to save as many lives as possible. Most parts of the Jammu region have been receiving heavy rain for the past few days, likely to continue till the end of this month at least.
6 people are dead and as many as 25 to 30 people are still missing. 12 injured people have been rescued and they are being rushed to the hospital for treatment.
The situation has been scary in Himachal Pradesh as well, where flash floods have been triggering landslides with boulders smashing into cars.
The Manali-Leh road has been blocked at various places and the administration has closed this road for traffic after landslides and flash floods damaged many roads and bridges linking this highway.
Dehradun in Uttarakhand has also been witnessing rain for the last many hours. Heavy rainfall has resulted in flooding and waterlogging in low-lying areas. The Met Department has predicted more rain for several days forward. Amidst the crisis in the hills, rivers have been overflowing and the government has been deploying all efforts to save people from the deluge. Bureau Report, India Today.
With that, viewers, I'm going to go into a quick break to stay with us. On the other side is our fact check segment.